Hi guys, in this video I just wanted to show you how I created this drawing and just give you some tips and tricks on how you can create a realistic drawing using only 3 coloured pencils. I hope you like the video. So I just wanted to share the quick story behind this piece. I follow a girl named Marlene and I'll link her channel in the description. But she has a lot of informative and entertaining videos about her birds. And I grew up with a lot of parrots and I love how strong their personalities can be. This is Jersey, the umbrella cockatoo, who wears tiny jumpers because she has some issues with plucking out her own feathers in the past. But she has the most entertaining personality and I thought it would be a fun subject to draw. Originally, I wanted to challenge myself by only using 2 coloured pencils, a black and a white luminance pencil, but I found that I wanted a creamier white for the brightest parts as well, so I ended up adding in the 3rd pencil, which was the Derwent Drawing Chinese White. I'm working on the Strathmore toned tan paper so that my white pencils will show up as well as my black pencil, whereas if you used a white paper you won't be able, obviously your white pencils won't show up on that. And I'm using the mid-tone of the paper to help me create some of the mid-values to make it look more realistic. And I'll leave a link to the supplies that I used in the description below. So I started by lightly laying in the dark areas on the head and the neck first. And I lightly laid in the white feathers with the white luminance pencil, and I also went over the top of the areas where I put the black down as well, just to create more of a mid-tone colour. And the reason I did that was because I wanted the darkest areas, like the eye and the shadow on the neck, to stand out and remain black in comparison to the soft shadows between the feathers. So when I laid the white over the top of the black, it almost turned into like a cool blue colour rather than a really dark shade of grey or black. In some spots, I let some of the colour of the paper show through because it added a little more warmth to the areas and stopped it looking like a one flat colour. In the areas where I needed some brighter whites, I switched over to the Derwent Drawing Chinese White because I find that this pencil is more opaque than a lot of the other white pencils that I have. In this piece, I didn't use any other products like odorless mineral spirits to blend. I just used many layers to create a more softer, blended out look. And to achieve this, just make sure that your pencil is relatively sharp so it can get into the tooth of the paper and won't look as grainy at the end. I'm also adding many light layers and then only burnishing or pressing harder in the last layer to really deepen the colour. I find that if you burnish straight away, it flattens out the tooth of the paper and you can't add any more layers on top if you wanted to add any detail or change any of the shading or make any changes at all. So if you decided that you wanted to change something later, it's really hard if you've already burnished the layers underneath. I like to work in black and white or in graphite occasionally because it reminds me that the values are what's important, not the colour. And I know that this is a white bird wearing a white jumper, so there isn't much colour in the piece anyway, but you can create artwork from any image using only black and white coloured pencils or only graphite and make it look realistic. You just have to make sure that your values are correct and that your lights are light enough and your darks are dark enough. And people are always trying to work out what the best colour is to use for a certain fur colour or the best colour for skin. But in reality, I could draw a tiger using graphite, which is, just grey and then white from the white of the paper. And it could look more realistic than someone who found the so-called perfect orange. The colour isn't as important as people think it is. Having an accurate outline is the first most important thing, because if your outline isn't accurate, no amount of shading will make it more realistic, or any amount of the perfect colour is not going to make it look more realistic. And then values is the next most important thing, and then colour. There are obviously more things that are important when you're working in realism, but I definitely believe that the accurate line drawing and the values are the top 2 main things to worry about. So doing artwork with just a black and a white pencil or in graphite only can help you make sure that you're getting your values right so that you can apply those same principles to your coloured works as well. And I always tell people who are just starting out that want to make their work look more realistic to take a photo of their artwork and turn it into black and white, and then do the same for your reference photo and compare the two. And usually the darks aren't dark enough. And I had this problem for a long time where I was scared to go darker in case I ruined it. And once you learn to get the values right, your work will automatically look a lot more realistic. Working with 3 coloured pencils was a good challenge, and I'd like to do some more sketches like this in the future, especially while I'm traveling. It'd be a good challenge to work on a subject that wasn't already black and white, so I could get more of the colour of the paper to show through in the midtones. It's almost impossible to bring everything I need to do a full piece of art while traveling, but if you just had the coloured pencils, the 2 whites and the black, a sharpener, a graphite pencil and an eraser for the line drawing, and just a toned sketchbook, you could create a lot of realistic art with minimal supplies. So this is how the end piece turned out, and I was quite pleased with the end result, and I had a lot of fun doing it. If you guys are on Facebook or Instagram, I have links in the description, or you can just search Kirsty Rebecca Fine Art and follow me over there. And if you liked this quick tutorial, please check out my other videos for some more tips and tricks. And if you have any questions or feedback, I'd love to hear from you, so please leave a comment below, and I'll see you in the next video.